Most men believe social class is decided by money or birth. They are wrong. Class is decided by who commands, who obeys, and who does not even realize they are being used. In this video, you will discover the 6 hidden levels of social hierarchy and the uncomfortable truth of where you stand within them. I have watched men rise without virtue and fall despite talent. I have seen the poor rule kings and kings beg like servants. Social class is not a ladder of wealth. It is a map of power, drawn by perception, fear, leverage, and control. Today I will strip away comforting illusions and show you the 6 levels that govern society silently. Not so you may feel proud, but so you may stop being blind. You belong to the lowest class not because you are poor, but because you are unaware. This is the invisible class, the silent mass that moves, votes, works, argues, and consumes without ever touching the levers that move society. They believe they are free because no one shouts orders at them. Yet their thoughts arrive pre-packaged, their desires pre-selected, their outrage carefully scheduled. In Florence, I watched merchants fight one another while bankers decided their fate. The crowd believed itself powerful because it was loud. Noise, however, has never been power. Those who shout are already late. Those who whisper are already winning. You wake, you scroll, you repeat. You defend opinions that cost you friendships but earn you nothing. You work systems you did not design, for goals you did not choose, to impress people who would replace you without hesitation. Tell me, is this freedom or simply obedience without a whip? The invisible class is not stupid. That is the tragedy. It is intelligent enough to function, but not strategic enough to question. It knows facts, but not incentives. It debates morality, yet never studies power. So it becomes the perfect instrument, sharp enough to be useful, dull enough to be controlled. Rulers throughout history understood this well. Roman emperors fed grain and spectacles, not wisdom. Church authorities offered salvation later, obedience now. Modern powers distribute comfort, distraction, and identity. The method changes, the result does not. You are guided by narratives. Work hard and you will rise. Be good and you will be rewarded. Choose a side and you will belong. These stories keep you moving forward while never upward. A man chasing hope rarely notices his cage. Psychologically, the invisible class survives on borrowed certainty. It fears being wrong more than being ruled, so it adopts beliefs like armor, political labels, moral slogans, tribal outrage, anything that removes the burden of independent thought. And when manipulation arrives, it does not feel like control. It feels like agreement. You think the idea is yours. That is the genius of it. The most effective chains are the ones the prisoner defends. Consider the soldier who dies for a cause he cannot explain, the worker who exhausts himself for a company that knows his replacement's name, the citizen who fights strangers online while real decisions are made in rooms he will never enter. All convinced they matter, all carefully positioned where they are harmless. Ask yourself this: when was the last time you benefited from your outrage? When did your loyalty produce leverage? When did your honesty translate into security? Power never begins with fairness. It begins with awareness. The invisible class refuses this truth because it is uncomfortable. It would rather believe the game is just than accept it is played. I do not condemn you. I warn you, because once you see the pattern, you cannot unsee it. And the moment you question the script handed to you, you cease to be invisible. But awareness alone is dangerous. Many awaken only to become bitter, loud, and still irrelevant. They trade blindness for rage. That is not ascent. That is another trap. To rise, you must learn not only how you are used, but why, and more importantly, who benefits from you remaining exactly where you are. In the next level, you will meet those who are valuable, praised, and still disposable. They believe usefulness equals safety. History is unkind to such men. Remember this as you listen further. The lowest position in any hierarchy is not poverty, but predictability. When your reactions are known, your movements anticipated, your values advertised, you can be managed like inventory. No tyrant needs cruelty when compliance is automatic. No master needs loyalty when habit is enough. If this unsettles you, good. Discomfort is the first signal of awakening, but do not mistake awakening for elevation. The next class will tempt you with praise and usefulness, offering dignity without protection. Pay attention, because many who escape invisibility walk proudly into a more elegant form of control. That lesson awaits you next, and it will decide whether you are respected, exploited, or erased. Stay alert, because the ascent grows quieter, colder, and dangerous. You have value, and that is precisely why you are dangerous to yourself. This is the useful class, the skilled, the competent, the reliable. Society praises you, rewards you, and quietly prepares to discard you. You are thanked, not protected. History is filled with men like you, engineers who built empires they would never own, generals who won wars only to be exiled once peace arrived, advisors who spoke truth, then paid for it when truth became inconvenient. In Renaissance courts, the most educated men rarely ruled. They calculated taxes, negotiated treaties, and designed strategies. When their usefulness expired, so did their safety. Power does not love talent, it rents it. You believe skill is leverage, you are half correct. Skill opens doors, but it does not decide who owns the building. The moment your competence threatens comfort, loyalty disappears. Competence without control is servitude dressed as merit. You work harder than those above you. You know more than those who command you. Yet you wait for permission. Why? Because you were taught that excellence would shield you. It will not. Psychologically, the useful class suffers from conditional worth. You matter only when producing, rest, and you feel guilt, question authority, and you feel fear. You internalize the system's needs until they feel like your own ambitions. Rulers understand this weakness. They reward you with titles instead of power, with praise instead of autonomy, with proximity instead of influence. You feel seen, so you remain obedient. Consider the modern professional, highly trained, overworked, replaceable. The company celebrates him publicly while quietly training his successor. He is indispensable in theory, optional in practice, and he knows it, yet continues. Why? Because usefulness is addictive. It offers identity. It answers the question, who am I? You become the problem solver, the dependable one, the backbone. Lose that role, and you fear becoming invisible again. So you tolerate exploitation. You accept extra work. You silence dissent. You tell yourself patience is strategy, but patience without leverage is surrender over time. Those above you encourage this belief. They say, stay loyal, stay humble. Your time will come. It rarely does. Power does not promote those who may. Keep themselves convenient. Machiavelli observed that princes fear those who are capable, yet not bound by interest. So they bind you with salary, status, and routine. Golden ropes are still ropes, and the more skilled you become, the tighter they pull. Ask yourself, if you vanish tomorrow, how quickly would you be replaced? If your ideas stopped flowing, who would suffer? If you withdrew effort, what leverage would you have? The useful class confuses proximity to power with possession of it. You attend meetings, you hear secrets, you feel important, but decision-making remains elsewhere. Access without authority is a performance. This class is essential to the machine, and that is why it is never allowed to control it. You are fed responsibility without sovereignty, burden without command. Some of you sense this imbalance. You feel the quiet resentment, the exhaustion that no vacation cures, the suspicion that your loyalty benefits others more than you. You are correct, but awareness creates danger. If you rebel openly, you are removed. If you comply blindly, you are drained. The exit is not force, it is transformation. The useful class must learn to convert skill into leverage, to attach value to scarcity, to make replacement costly, to move from executor to gatekeeper. This requires restraint, silence, strategic withdrawal. You must stop proving yourself endlessly. Those who perform too eagerly teach others they are disposable. In the next level, you will encounter those who chase status rather than power. They appear successful, admired, and free, yet they are controlled by appearances and hunger for approval. Many from the useful class aspire to join them, unaware of the new trap awaiting above. Listen carefully. Being needed is not the same as being secure, and being skilled is not the same as being powerful. If you do not decide how your value is used, someone else will, and they will never use it to free you. The next level will seduce you with recognition. Do not mistake applause for assent. Power never rewards the useful. You do not want power. You want to be seen as powerful. That distinction defines the aspirational class, the most crowded and the most manipulated level in society. Here, appearance replaces authority, and symbols become substitutes for control. These are not the poor, nor the invisible. These are the strivers, the climbers, the ones who believe success is something to be displayed rather than wielded. They dress like rulers, speak like leaders, and think like followers. History is merciless to such men. In ancient Rome, newly wealthy citizens built grand homes near the Forum, believing proximity meant influence. They hosted banquets, wore fine robes, and mimicked senators. Yet when decisions were made, they were never in the room. You see this pattern everywhere. Luxury without leverage, recognition without protection. The aspirational class mistakes status for safety. Psychologically, this class is driven by hunger, not for dominance, but for validation. They want proof that they matter. Likes, titles, applause, reputation. These become currency, and currency becomes a leash. Ask yourself, why do you chase symbols others recognize? Why does admiration feel like progress? Because admiration feels earned, while power feels forbidden. Those above you understand this weakness. They offer visibility instead of authority, awards instead of autonomy, a seat near the stage, but never on it. You feel elevated, so you stop questioning. Consider the modern influencer, famous, exposed, dependent, every move watched, every opinion punished. He believes himself free because many listen to him. Yet he must constantly please, adjust, and beg for relevance. Status is fragile. Power is quiet. The aspirational class chooses noise. In Renaissance courts, nobles obsessed over rank, clothing, and ceremony. They fought duels over insults while ministers rewrote laws behind closed doors. Ego distracted them. Vanity consumed them. They defended honor while losing control. You too are encouraged to compete horizontally. Who looks richer? Who sounds smarter? Who appears more successful? While real power moves vertically, unnoticed. This class is kept busy comparing itself to others at the same level. Envy replaces strategy. Image replaces influence. You are too occupied proving worth to acquire leverage. The tragedy is subtle. The aspirational class often escapes poverty and obscurity. It tasks ease, comfort. It gains attention. And that makes retreat impossible. You cannot easily abandon a lifestyle built on perception. So you compromise. You say what is acceptable. You avoid risk. You protect your image more than your position. You become predictable. Rulers adore predictability. A man who fears losing status will obey without force. He will censor himself. He will attack threats to the system that flatters him. He will mistake inclusion for control. Machiavelli warned that men who seek honor without power are already defeated. Honor can be granted and revoked. Power must be taken or built. Look closely. Who benefits from your ambition? Who profits from your spending, your striving, your self-promotion? You invest enormous energy into being admired by those who cannot protect you. The aspirational class lives in performance. Every success must be visible, every failure hidden. This constant acting drains strategic thought. You are busy maintaining an image while others build empires. And yet, this class believes itself close to the top. That illusion is its prison. You feel superior to those below and hopeful about those above. So you stay exactly where you are. There is a way out, but it requires a brutal shift. You must stop seeking approval. Stop displaying progress. Stop confusing recognition with control. Those who rise beyond this level learn to disappear at will. They accumulate leverage privately. They let others underestimate them. They trade applause. E for access. In the next level, you will meet those who operate in silence. They do not impress. They influence. They do not compete for status. They design outcomes. Remember this. Status makes you visible. Visibility makes you vulnerable. Power prefers the shadows. If you feel offended by this truth, you are still trapped, and the trap only tightens above. Where fewer rise, fewer speak, and mistakes are never forgiven. You no longer chase attention. You study patterns. This is the strategic class, the quiet architects of outcomes. They are not admired, and that is intentional. They do not win arguments. They win positions. History remembers kings, but it was advisors who shaped kingdoms. In Florence, Milan, and Venice, unseen men moved alliances while nobles performed pride. The strategist never stands at the front. He stands beside the lever. You begin to understand systems instead of personalities. You watch incentives, not speeches. You know who benefits when chaos erupts and who profits when peace is declared. While others react, you map consequences. Psychologically, this class masters delayed gratification. You resist the urge to display intelligence. You allow others to underestimate you. Nothing disarms like perceived insignificance. The strategic class speaks less and listens longer. Information becomes currency. Silence becomes armor. You learn that every word reveals position and every reaction exposes leverage. Consider the court fixer. Never elected, rarely blamed, always informed. When power shifts, he survives. When rulers fall, he remains useful. Unlike the aspirational class, you do not compete horizontally. You avoid unnecessary rivals. You let others exhaust themselves for status while you accumulate influence quietly. This class understands a brutal truth. Control is not seized through force, but through dependency. Make others need you, and they will protect you better than loyalty ever could. You cultivate scarcity. Your skills are not displayed freely. Your access is controlled. Your loyalty is conditional. This makes you dangerous. Machiavelli noted that those who understand timing rule those who understand strength. You act when conditions are ripe, not when emotions demand movement. Patience becomes strategy, not surrender. You also understand when to retreat. Visibility is risk. Praise attracts envy. So you move in shadows, shaping outcomes while others seek credit. But this level carries its own danger, isolation, moral flexibility, the temptation to believe you are untouchable. Many strategists fall not from enemies, but from arrogance. Ask yourself, who do you influence without authority? Where do decisions pause until you speak? If removed, would chaos follow? The strategic class is feared quietly. Others sense resistance when crossing you, even if they cannot explain why. That is leverage at work. Yet remember this, you are still inside the hierarchy. You influence outcomes, but you do not own resources. Your power is positional, not absolute. Those above you tolerate you while you are useful. Those below you never see you coming. It is a narrow bridge. To advance further, strategy must evolve into control. Influence must harden into ownership. Otherwise, you remain a master of moves in someone else's game. In the next level, you will meet those who command resources themselves. They do not whisper, they decide, and when they act, entire systems respond. You will feel the ground thinning beneath you. Allies become cautious, enemies become subtle. Every choice echoes louder. At this altitude, mistakes are not forgiven, they are remembered. The strategist must now confront a final question. Is influence enough, or do you seek command? Because the next ascent demands something colder, ownership. Those who reach it stop advising power and begin embodying it. They are not protected by intelligence, but by fear and necessity. Their decisions alter lives instantly. Their absence creates panic. Crossing into that realm requires sacrifice. Privacy disappears. Mercy becomes costly. And once resources are yours, everyone has a price, including you. This is where systems stop being studied and start being controlled, where leverage hardens into law, where strategy ends and rule begins. If you believe you are ready, understand this. There is no return. The next level does not reward cleverness. It demands responsibility for outcomes you cannot undo. Listen carefully as we proceed, because the final classes do not forgive hesitation, they do not tolerate innocence, and they do not share power. They consume it. Once you step forward, you are no longer learning the game. You become the board, and every piece now moves. Because of you, alone, at last, you do not influence outcomes anymore. You decide them. This is the dominant class, where resources obey, systems respond, and people adjust themselves around your presence. Here, power is no longer theoretical. It is operational. History treats this class differently. These are not advisors or strategists. These are landholders, financiers, warlords, industrialists, sovereigns. They do not persuade the machine. They own it. In every era, real authority followed control of essentials. Land in feudal times, gold and trade routes in empires, energy, data, capital, and logistics today. Whoever controlled supply never needed popularity. You now understand the oldest rule of power. Men obey those who determine survival. Morality bends quickly when dependency appears. Psychologically, this class abandons the need to be liked. Approval becomes irrelevant. Fear becomes optional. What matters is necessity. When others need what you control, emotions rearrange themselves around you. You see this in corporations, the CEO who fires thousands without explanation, the investor who collapses markets with a sentence, the politician who controls budgets, not speeches. Resistance fades when consequences arrive. The dominant class does not argue. It enforces reality. You disagree, but you still comply. At this level, loyalty is transactional. No one loves you. They align with you. Affection is replaced by calculation, and that is safer. Machiavelli observed, that men forgive cruelty faster than weakness. In this class, weakness is fatal. Resources attract predators. If you hesitate, someone will test you. So you cultivate reputation carefully, not as kind, not as fair, but as decisive, predictable in enforcement, unforgiving in breach. Consider the ruler who forgives betrayal. He invites the next one. Consider the employer who hesitates to cut losses. He teaches others to exploit patience. The dominant class learns to amputate cleanly. People, projects, alliances, delay spreads infection. This class also understands optics, not vanity, but signaling. Displays of strength are occasional and deliberate. Punishments are visible. Rewards are controlled. Uncertainty keeps subordinates cautious. You do not explain decisions fully. Explanations invite debate. You announce outcomes. Outcomes reshape behavior faster than arguments ever could. Yet power at this altitude is heavy. Every choice creates enemies. Every success attracts challenges. Your inner circle shrinks. Your sleep grows lighter. Paranoia becomes discipline or downfall. Trust becomes measured, not absent. You rely on systems, not promises. Ask yourself, who depends on you right now? If you vanished, what would collapse? Who fears your withdrawal more than your presence? Those answers reveal whether you truly belong here. But here lies the hidden danger. The dominant class mistakes control for invincibility. History punishes this arrogance brutally. Kings belie. Eaved crowns made them immortal. Tycoons believed wealth insulated them. Dictators believed fear erased resentment. They were wrong. Power concentrates attention. Attention breeds coalitions. Coalitions end reigns. At this level, enemies do not attack openly. They wait. They starve supply. They poison alliances. They turn insiders quietly. You must now defend power without appearing defensive. You must project stability even while under threat. This requires emotional control beyond ordinary men. Mercy becomes strategic, not moral. Cruelty becomes selective, not habitual. Every action is weighed for second and third consequences. The dominant class survives by adaptability. Rigid rulers fall, flexible ones endure. But understand this, even here, You are still within society, still bound by laws, norms, expectations, still visible, still targetable. Above you exists one final class, rare, feared, often unseen. They do not merely control resources. They define rules themselves. They operate beyond reputation, beyond morality, beyond consequence. Most never reach them. Many should not try. Because the final ascent demands isolation, few survive. It requires surrendering identity itself. Not king, not ruler, not leader, something colder. If you think dominance is the end, you have misunderstood power. Dominance is still reactive, still contested, still temporary. The final level does not fight challenges. It removes the possibility of challenge. That world is not ADM. Ired. It is whispered about. And once you understand it, you will never look at power the same way again. You are no longer part of society. Society reacts to you. This is the untouchable class, the rarest position in any hierarchy. Those who exist beyond rules, beyond reputation, beyond ordinary consequence. They are not loved. They are not hated. They are feared in silence. History hides them deliberately. You hear their effects, not their names. Empires collapse, markets shift, leaders vanish, and no fingerprints remain. These are not kings. Kings can be removed, not generals. Generals answer to flags, not even tyrants. Tyrants still require loyalty. The untouchable class requires nothing. It shapes reality by absence as much as action. You have seen shadows of them. The financier no court can touch. The negotiator who ends wars without appearing. The figure whose phone call halts investigations. They do not command visibly. They neutralize. Psychologically, this class has severed identity from ego. There is no need to be known, no desire to be praised. Visibility is liability. Emotion is exposure. Most men collapse here, not from pressure, but from emptiness. When applause disappears, purpose evaporates. Only those comfortable with isolation survive. Machiavelli warned that the greatest danger to a ruler is believing himself irreplaceable. The untouchable never believes this. He ensures it. Control here is not dominance. It is architecture. Rules are designed and enforced. Conflicts are preempted, not fought. You do not punish enemies. You make them irrelevant. You do not threaten rivals. You remove incentives to oppose you. Consider how laws are written, who funds institutions, who decides which truths are visible. Real power lies upstream, where causes are chosen, not reactions. The untouchable class operates there, where morality is a tool, where legality is adjustable, where time itself becomes leverage. Decisions here feel cruel to ordinary men. Lives are statistics, nations are chessboards, sacrifice is assumed. And yet, this class rarely kills directly. Violence attracts attention. They let systems do the work. An investigation stalls, a supply chain fails, an ally defects, outcomes occur. No villain appears. Ask yourself, who benefits when no one is blamed? Who survives every regime change? Who remains untouched when scandals consume others? Those are the clues. But understand the cost. This level demands absolute detachment. Friendship becomes risk. Love becomes leverage. Family becomes vulnerability. You are always calculating, always anticipating, always alone. Even other untouchables are not trusted. Alliances are temporary. Balance is maintained through mutual fear, not loyalty. There is no glory here, only permanence, and permanence is heavy. Most who reach this level retreat voluntarily. They disappear into private life. They fund quietly. They influence subtly. They watch. Because staying too long invites entropy. Every structure eventually attracts challenges. Even gods fall when worship fades. So the untouchable class masters exit. They vanish before collapse. They leave no throne to overthrow, no symbol to burn. This is the final lesson. Power is not about rising forever. It is about choosing when to leave. If you sought admiration, you failed long ago. If you sought control, you may still be climbing. If you seek untouchability, understand this. You will lose your name, your story, your place among men. In exchange, you gain freedom from consequence. Few make that trade consciously. Fewer survive it intact. Now ask yourself honestly, do you want power or do you want peace? Because beyond this point there are no more levels, only choices, and once made, they cannot be undone. Most will turn away here, not from fear, but from recognition. They sense what this path extracts. Ambition survives many losses, but not the loss of self. So they return downward, satisfied with influence, comfort, noise. If you continue listening, you are already changing. Curiosity is the first separation, detachment follows, then calculation replaces instinct. This series ends here, but your reflection should not, because knowing the hierarchy alters how you move inside it. Whether you climb, descend, or step aside, you will never again be innocent. Power has been shown to you without romance. What you do next will reveal more than your words ever could. Remember this quietly. Highest power is not ruling others. It is choosing what no longer rules you. Silence, after knowledge, is the final shield of the untouchable. You have now seen the machinery behind obedience, not chains, not force, but perception, habit, incentive, and fear quietly arranged. Men believe they are free because no hand grips their throat, yet they move where reward points them and stop where consequence waits. Is that freedom or refinement? Control does not announce itself, it disguises itself as choice. Those who master this do not argue. They design environments where resistance feels irrational. Ask yourself this one question: who benefits from the way you think, react, desire, and obey? If the answer is not you, then someone else is already ruling you. Power favors the observant, it abandons the loud, and it destroys the naive. You do not need cruelty to control men. You need understanding. You need patience. You need the discipline to see what others refuse to look at. Now speak, comment your thoughts below, agreement or resistance. Both reveal position. If you wish to understand power as it truly is, subscribe. More strategies await those willing to think coldly. And if this disturbed you, share it, not to warn others, but to see who recognizes themselves in it.